broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah! Hey, y'all! Hey, y'all! Welcome to the AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for Bloodline. We're talking Season 1, Episode 7. It's Episode 7 already.
It is.
I know, it's crazy. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, I should say. Subscribe, youtube.com/AFTERBUZZ TV. And, of course, also find us on SoundCloud and iTunes because we are there for you all as well.
We are there.
We are there. I am Alison Dean. You can find me at the Alison Dean on Twitter and Instagram, and I have some very lovely, lovely ladies next to me. This is Blake V. Where can they find you, Blake V?
That's right, I'm Blake V. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media.
Yes, I am Marielou Mandl. You can find me on all social media at Marielou Mandl.
Hi guys, I'm Kate Aquillano, and surprise, surprise, you can find me on everything at Kate Aquillano.
Lovely. So we're so simple.
I saw something out of the corner of my eye, Steven.
It's so good.
We got a troublemaker over here.
So this episode was a little bit of a slow start one, slowish, startish one, and actually it kind of bummed me out because this one was directed by Tate Donovan, and I love Tate Donovan. I mean, I like him a lot. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think I wanted like some more like gunfire for whatever episode he directed, but whatever.
I mean, all of the episodes, I wanted to say, like, this episode was dark. All of the episodes are dark.
Yes.
But I felt like this one was a little darker.
It
was.
was.
It was a little unsettling.
Yeah.
Well, this,
Yeah, it was just, it was slower paced for sure. I feel like, to me, this was the slowest episode thus far. But it was like the turning point. It was Danny's turning point. I feel like where we're starting to see now a little bit of the dark past or whatever has been haunting
I'm not
him
accepting
this whole
this.
time.
I am not accepting this at all. But now that we're talking about Danny, let's talk about Danny because there was a lot of
talk about
Danny happening up in this episode.
There was.
We start and he dumped all of his pain meds down the drain, which really confused me because I was like, what are you trying to do here? I didn't...
Well,
you know what I mean?
He's got his plan, and now he's got to go forth with it. Like, I feel like he's had a moment of clarity with hearing these tapes.
Okay.
And he's like, fine, let me F these people over.
But how does
that's true. He's plotting. I don't know how the pills play into it.
He still needs his pills.
But he needs to focus.
And I think the pain is driving him.
Yes.
Because when he takes the pills, the pain
Okay, I like
is
that.
not there. The tapes are obviously giving him, you know, a mental, emotional pain.
Right.
But the pills cover up the physical pain. And now that he feels it physically, it's even more of a drive to like, I am going to screw each and every one of my family members over.
And he is in pain. We see, I think there's a few moments where we see him just like exhausted with pain, which is like maybe he's just tired because he's working so hard, but like I took it as like...
No, I took it as him being in pain.
Like the pain is actually coming to the surface, and he's using it as a reminder, as gasoline.
Okay.
Oh, no pun intended.
I know, right?
No pun was totally intended.
Mary Lou. Yes, I think that could definitely be spot on. And what about how like they were sort of intersplicing between him suddenly going back to work for Eric, with Eric, and doing all this shady stuff, and
All
then
of a sudden, right?
Yes, I thought that was very strange, especially because just a couple episodes ago, he was so defiant and he made such a stand against Eric, saying, you know, he's not gonna do that, not gonna go back to work with him, and then suddenly out of nowhere, it's like he was the one propelling it in this episode.
Well, and it's all about this money. Like, I need money. I'm so in debt. And this is the second, maybe, or third time that we see him sending money, like mailing the money.
Yeah.
So I want to know who the heck he is mailing this money to.
100%.
Because he's obviously he said he's in a lot of debt. But is it in debt to a dangerous person? Someone that's going to come after him, come after the family? I don't know.
Yeah, Blake thought that it could be a child, but
I got the feeling maybe it was a kid.
Really?
I feel like it might be a kid that just nobody knows about, and he's keeping it a secret. from like everyone.
It's a good call, guys.
But then, like, the more money, like, writing more money on the envelope.
More coming.
Like, I feel like it was a kid, you'd be like, hearts. I don't know. Maybe not. Hey, that's actually true. I just take that back. But
or
still,
the kid's mother.
It's the mom.
Or,
Yeah, sending it to the mom. Like, I'm sure if that is the case, he promised to take care of them, and he feels that, you know, he needs to work and provide. It's a really good little prediction.
Well, and that's where I was thinking that with him doing that was that the woman that we see him imagining is not little sister grown up version. It's maybe mama of it's maybe baby mama.
Oh.
And maybe she's dead
Could
too.
be.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, dang. That could totally be.
With this show, you never know.
You really have
That's
no
why
idea.
because we've discussed this before, that we don't watch, we only watch one episode a week, and it's killing me because I'm like, I need to keep going, but we want to talk it through. And I don't want to mix up my episodes.
No.
I will
Far
have to
too
say,
sketchy.
after this episode was done, because I felt unsatisfied after
You
this
watched
one.
8?
No, I let it go through the whole opening credits, and then I was like, no.
Oh, you did it.
You were so close. You're like,
You had
playing with
restraint.
fire.
I did that last week. So with last week's episode, I let it play into the opening, and then I was like, and I can't.
that's what
But like you're sitting there, you're like, baby, no.
I know. Oh,
It's
man,
exactly
so
what I
bad.
did.
Down.
All right. So I'm looking at my notes, and it was kind of interesting that Kevin was basically the one when Meg came up and said, you know, hey, how do you feel about bringing the bro back into the mix? He was like, you know, he gave the all clear. And, I mean, that was a pretty big step forward, I think, for him, because he was, I think, the biggest challenger over the course of these.
do you think it was just guilt because he slept with Chelsea?
Totally.
Could have been, but
guilty.
whatever.
Yeah, timing. Timing
mean,
probably
they-
had so much to do with it.
They were definitely getting along, and their relationship was improving, but I don't think Kevin was at the point with Danny where he was like, yes, let's give him half the money. I think he felt guilty for what he did with Chelsea, and he was like, yeah, I don't want to like hold up anyone, whatever y'all want to do.
But
whatever.
I also think that, I mean, there is a bit of that, but at the same time, I think he also felt that Meg and John both had already sort of crossed that threshold of feeling like, you know what, this is the right thing to do. And so I feel like that he knew that he would just keep getting pushback from them on some level if like he didn't just pony up and say, you know what, whatever you guys want to do, I'm fine with it. You know, and he did recognize that Danny's been stepping up and helping, even though it's all for naught.
That's the thing. Do you
know.
think
Such a front.
obviously, if they go through with this and they bring him back into the will, do you think that'll like make Danny change his mind a little bit? Because you know he's planning something. Mm-hmm. But like, do you think he's gonna be like, well, whatever, I'm still gonna do whatever I'm gonna do to you guys?
Well, these Rayburns are so hot and cold that
They really are.
yeah.
Maybe he'll be part of the party, and then whatever he's doing is going to like then catch up with him. Then they're gonna switch on him, and then they're
Right.
gonna burn him on a boat.
You know, unfortunately, I feel
It all comes back to burning him on a boat.
gasoline. We got to know when that comes in. No, unfortunately, I think that it's a little more of the negative. I think that he has been planning this all along. And I think that that's been the struggle that he's had since the beginning, kind of how he was debating whether or not to even get on the bus in the pilot episode. I think was his struggle, because he was like, okay, if I go, I have to commit to it. I'm going to have to trick them all so that I can be on this plan to F them over later. And I think that might be what it is. And now he's really just like putting it in full force. He decided he was going to be there. He's going to make sure that they see the good Danny. But unfortunately, the plan is, we're starting to see the plan is on its way to coming to fruition.
I told you guys before we started, the line that like haunted me the most was when he's apologizing to Chelsea. Danny goes, "You and Eric are the closest thing I have to family."
I know.
And it's like, what? Like you're close. They're close friends, but you have a family that loves you, and a lot they did some bad things and they didn't stick up for you, but like. That just didn't settle with me very good.
I just think
Yeah.
that like not everyone is on the same playing field, you know? So in the sense of, I think obviously John cares about Danny a lot, you know, and I thought it was really interesting in that opening scene with John's wife when he said it could have been me on that boat with Sarah. You know, it's like he's basically stating things where he feels full-on compassion for his brother, and he definitely wants to right all the wrongs that have ever come between them, right?
Right.
But then he sees stuff, and I think Meg, too, on some level is, obviously, they're too far apart in age, I think, to have built the same level of whatever camaraderie that he and John built together, I guess. But I think it's like the things like him seeing his mother give that money to Carlos. What's his last name? To Carlos.
Yeah.
And like feeling like his mom isn't even giving him a sufficient enough raise for all the work he's doing. So he keeps feeling slighted on some level. So even though there's like things happening to make him feel like my family loves me, there's like other things that are happening where it's like 2 steps back. Like,
and it's just a little too late. Like he's like, I don't think he cares what they're doing.
Yeah.
He's in this plan mode and he's gonna put it into action. And he even made that comment to Meg. He's like, that's why it's it's good to work for our family because they always help other people out, and like hinting like, but they don't help out their own.
I know.
And his
or just him, really, not
Yeah,
just him.
His collected comments, like, it creeps me out so much. Where he's like, "Oh, well, all right." Like everything is just an observation. He's keeping it on his little tally list.
But that's what he's used to.
Ugh,
that's how he was
freaks me
forced
out.
to grow up. Was everything would happen to him, and then he would just have to take it and absorb it, and then just move forward because no one was there to help him or defend him. So now, as a grown man dealing with these issues, it's just more of the same, and it's even creepier because now he has the power to make some stuff happen.
He keeps listening to the tapes, like as we
Fuel
say
to the fire.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
physical pain is fuel, and he keeps listening to these tapes as if it's like a reminder, like I have to go through with this. Like listen to what they did to me.
I don't know. I don't know. I think.
Are you still Team Danny?
I still have hope for him.
well,
I've always appreciated men with troubles.
Allison's a fixer. She just wants to fix
God.
everyone.
I still have hope for him. I don't know, and I also feel like the creators of the show are not going to let me down. It's not as clear as day as it may appear that things are so clear as day for us right now.
Right.
They are not.
right.
So,
well,
in
and
that
that's
respect,
what, for him, it wasn't clear as day that before. Now he knows that they did, lie to the police. Before he was just like, "Oh, my family's so mean to me. They cut me out." But now he's like, "No, they like straight up wronged me."
yeah, but then again, they were teenagers at
That's
the
the
time. They were like
thing.
little. It wasn't like they were like 30-year-old, 40, 50 adults. Like
Be
who are
mad
totally
at the parents, blame the parents, but they were like Kevin. You're gonna be mad at like if John was
A
14,
9-year-old?
he's
Yeah,
like
like
10,
yeah.
and he's talking to a detective, like scared out of his mind.
yeah.
Don't blame him.
And they were probably
I
all
think-
scared of being beaten by their dad too.
right.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think there is more on those tapes that we're going to find out
Yeah.
that is making him so upset. Right now, we're just seeing the parts where they
Want
are kind
us
of
to hear,
yeah,
yeah.
and where John and Kevin are kind of sharing these brief little stories of, oh yeah, we saw it, and Dad was in the hospital. But no, I think there's far more to these tapes.
Interesting.
That Danny has listened to the things in duration, and now he's reflecting off of the whole entire thing. And I think there's going to be a lot more juice in these tapes that we don't know yet. So we're kind of making our assumptions, like, oh, it's so little. Why is he getting upset at this? I think there's far more.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't disagree with you. So after all the work is happening, Danny's working with Eric, all this stuff is happening, they're doing all their bad deeds, but he's getting boatloads of cash for it, and then he comes to find out the job is over because they've found them out or something. Something's going on.
Cops are asking questions.
Yeah, they're asking questions. They can't have that. So I love it. Danny goes after the final cash drop was made between whomever giving money to Eric. He follows the guy back to the bait store.
happen.
You did? I think I did too, but then I also was like thinking as Danny like drove off to follow the guy, I was like, isn't Eric seeing all of this? Like it's not like Danny drives like some super sleek automobile that's like so incognito. He drives like an old beat up pickup truck, like a loud. It's
probably loud, I know.
Yeah, loud, obnoxious.
Probably hear it a mile
Eric's probably not the brightest.
Well, that I don't disagree. Yes,
So
that's
he
true.
might not have picked up on it. But as soon as Eric was like, I'm meeting him tonight to like get the final cash, I'm like, he's just gonna follow him and talk to the dude, and now he's gonna like get into more trouble, and then John's gonna find out. My mind was just going crazy.
All I could think was that guy who was the crony. I just hated his hair.
The bleach.
Yeah, I was like,
job on top.
why?
You gotta fix that.
You guys, did we see the bait shop owner before?
I was actually thinking that. I was like, have
He
we?
looks somewhat familiar, and I didn't have time to go back.
In one of the bar scenes, maybe he could have been at the bar where they,
And
you know.
he's obviously a very well-known actor. So I was like, am I just imagining this, or have we like seen him?
I don't
like,
think
was
we
he at
have.
the funeral? Was he? I don't.
Well,
think
here's
so.
why I don't think they know one another, because Danny clearly calls out internal monologue and is like, oh no, he doesn't. He says it out loud. He says, so you don't know me, or whatever. And he was basically saying, I'm a Rayburn, you don't know me, kind of a thing. I feel like that's
You
what he
know who you're dealing with.
But it's like, he was like, I can help you. I'm like, what, are you going to convince John to, like, because he's your brother, to stop investigating the murder of 2 girls? No. Like, how is he going to help you?
I think it's a level of influence. I think there's powers with which Danny has in the realms of influence, where it's possible that he can insert strange dialogue, or he can steer things in a particular direction, or because of his access to Eric and whatever perception he wants to give John about how, you know, the things he knows about Eric and what he's willing to let John know about Eric. I don't know. There's just things I think
if
that
he threw Eric under the bus, I'd be like, wow, you really hate everyone.
No, I don't think he would do that. I don't think he would throw. I mean, at this point, I don't think he would, since.
Can we ever really tell?
No,
Nope.
no, that's
Not
true.
at all.
No,
Everyone lies.
Everyone lies. So at the end, did you think that Eric just went on his own accord to beat the living crap out of Kevin, or do you feel like Danny was behind this?
It crossed my mind.
Yeah, I happen to think that Danny sent him. I feel like Danny sent him. And maybe that was intentional through the editing that they did at the end, where he was having the conversation with Chelsea, and then we see it was like flash back and forth between Eric going to beat Kevin up and then Danny's conversation with Chelsea. So it made you connect the two. But I feel like Danny did.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I feel like he got into Danny's car. Like, Eric drives like a van, and it looked like he got into a truck.
It did look like he got into a truck, although I thought he was also driving a truck too. In the pickup scene where he was, I thought he was in a truck.
I don't know, but I don't know. That crossed my mind. But I'm like, and the broken glass, we've seen that before in the Flash when John,
very beginning.
he hands. Do you think it's connected that like he gives the gun to John like right then? Or is it just like, oh, the glass been broken for like weeks?
Oh, because maybe he has the gun to protect himself because somebody's beating him up and like stealing his money.
Right.
It's possible. Yeah, that's possible. For a split second, I was like, is that Nick coming in there to beat the
Yeah,
shit?
well, that's why he wore the hat.
Right. And you couldn't
So
tell
you
who
could
it was.
think that. It's like, I really hope you don't get this loan.
I know.
That's what I'm seeing for. Anyway.
I'm going to make sure you don't get this loan.
He
Take
stole
all your
that
money.
money. I feel bad for Kevin.
Poor Kevin. Now we're like, poor
Okay,
Kevin.
I know. Now you hate Kevin in one episode, and now you feel bad for him.
Right. Well, speaking of poor Kevin, this has been my question for many episodes. So the Rayburns as a family seem to be very well to do. They have property, they have the inn, they have the reputation, they have all of this. They seem to be very wealthy.
Yep.
Why is it that Kevin seems to be struggling so hard with money? He seems like he is just like a lowly dockhand. Like he's
Their
just working
house
at the
is really
shipyard.
nice. I mean, because we see him when he goes to Belle's house. That was their house. Seems really nice, but yeah, I don't
It's like they
know.
make him seem like he really is just a working class guy, and he just is really struggling to make this purchase and get this land and procure this, shipyard and everything. When I feel like it could very well be a Rayburn investment. Like, why wouldn't some of the Rayburn
true.
money go to?
It makes me feel like the
purchasing
dad
this?
was so like adamant about like making something of himself. Like he built that inn from ground up, and so you aren't gonna get any help from me. Like you build your business from the ground up. And Meg's a lawyer, John's like the sheriff. Like maybe they don't help each other out, kind of like.
And
that.
you know what? And I feel like they don't, because I feel like that was brought up when they were speaking to, when they gave the envelope to Carlos, and then Danny made the comment of, oh, well, that's great. You help everyone else, but you don't help your own.
Right.
Because that money, Meg explained that he had to put up the house his mother's house for, what was it, bail or something like that. Yes. And so they were giving the money back so that they could keep the house for sure. And it's like, if you've got the money to be,
that generous with,
covering, bail money type of situation and making it so that you can keep other people's houses, why isn't Kevin able to get this money to secure this purchase? And, the other children able to get the money for whatever else. And Danny has to fight tooth and nail for a raise or whatever it is. Meanwhile, they're handing money willy-nilly to everyone. So it's very interesting, this dynamic.
And you think of it, I just said, even myself, like the dad, but Sally's doing the same thing.
Yep.
She freaks me out.
Yeah, because it might be just her.
I tweeted, can't wait for Sally to snap. And Bloodline tweeted me back saying, like, just wait kind of thing. And I was like, oh, snap.
It's coming.
It's coming because, like, why is she like that? Like, I understand maybe you're afraid of your husband, what he's going to do. He has a temper. It's his, his business. But I feel like it's their business. But now that he's gone, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah. And right all these wrongs if it truly was.
Like, she doesn't seem to care. I'm like, these are your children.
Oh, no. There's underlying things going on. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of Carlos and all that, we got a little bit of Meg action happening in this. No Meg and Marco, sadly.
True.
Except we do hear that Marco tells
John about the proposal that he says your sister's whacked right now, pretty much. And he's like, yeah, I don't get women.
Well, he says, and I really don't get my sister, which is weird because I feel like they were kind of close, but maybe they're not as close as I'm really making them out to be.
I think they're close, but I think that, like, I don't know. I think John is like Switzerland in these moments of, like, especially with women. Like, he's not down for We got a little bit of backstory about, like, him, like, courting his now wife, and just how he was not really a ladies' man. He doesn't really know what's going on with, like, God bless his looks, basically, and the fact that he's the sheriff.
God bless kind of looks. Thank you very much.
In the sense of, so he can't figure out the women, I think, So anyway, okay. So Meg is gonna help out Carlos. God bless Meg. She's doing a good thing. But yeah, that was kind of it for Meg in this episode. It was like, okay.
I'm a defense attorney now. Cool.
I mean, I did appreciate that deposition scene, though, I have to say. I thought it was, like, a very good, like, oh, you're pulling it out. Oh, you could be a defense attorney, Meg.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what was the most interesting thing about Meg helping Carlos is, to me, was the scene where they were in the living room of the inn discussing whatever, and Sally came in, and they were having a brief, exchange of words. But basically, Sally said to Carlos, like, oh, don't worry about all of this. We all make mistakes. And that was, like, her line for the episode, I felt like.
What does it all mean?
Right? It's so cryptic.
That's true.
It is so cryptic. But that's the one that got me. So I'll make mistakes.
Yeah. And then...
Speaking of which...
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. Side note. A little bit of a backtrack. How strange was the conversation that Danny was having with everyone when he was over at John's for dinner? And they were trying to tell a cute story of how John and the wife met. And then Danny's, like, taking it down this whole path of, like, shoplifting. And it was, like, such on a line.
Yeah. Well, for him, I think he's really trying to shine the light on everyone that they are not as good as they want to seem. So he's like, oh, I know things.
And the scene when the boy comes to pick up the girl and he whispers something in her ear was probably the creepiest scene I've ever seen. And then
that was a long whisper.
It was a long whisper. Thank God she, like, giggled and, like, seemed fine. But then when I'm sorry, I forget John's wife's name.
I know.
John's wife's name.
Yeah.
John's wife asks about, what did you just say to her? Diana. And he goes, that's between an uncle and his niece.
And his niece.
And I was just the look that he gave her and she was giving him, it was like, that super creepy. It was, like, creepier than the scene with Danny and Meg when he was, like, threatening her with the hotel room key. That I was like, oh, I'm scared of Danny. I was like, I'm scared of you right now. I was like, what are you trying to do?
She walked off mad. Yeah, she was not happy.
She gave those eyes to John, like, I am not okay with this. I was like,
And then she's cleaning up. She's like, I'm glad you're happy.
Right? Yeah, and I was like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
That would not be the answer I gave.
No.
I don't know if we'll ever find out what he said, but I hope so.
I wonder if they would do that. Like, somehow the niece comes back and, like, drops some, like, little tidbit
and
of
she
it.
would only know that through Danny or something. Yeah,
some little
interesting
tidbit. All right, so big break in the Juanita Doe case ish.
Yeah, we find like a missing person
thing
flyer.
happening.
Oh, we go to the church. We even like get led there.
First we go to the farm. We go to Besler Farms. And I liked how they manhandled that situation. Oh, you want INS in here? You want you better let us in. Oh yeah, they were good. I was appreciating that whole thing. And passing out the flyers. Do you know this person? Do you know that person? No one's saying anything because they're all afraid.
That ever is.
I know everyone's afraid. They don't want to talk to cops.
Yeah.
But they do have a little note on their car which leads them to this
conveniently
church. Yeah.
Like how lucky was that?
It was
very
Thank
lucky.
You Television, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And he sees that one of the gals that's missing on the bulletin board at the church, to me, she did not resemble anyone that was missing.
I think she did.
You think she did?
I thought she did.
Oh.
But it was I don't know what that guy's job was that he talked to, who was like, I don't know if it was like the pastor.
I think it was the pastor, yeah.
When he was like, he creeped me out, like he knew something and wasn't going to say something. He's like, dude, I don't recognize either of these girls, but yet there's the missing girl on your bulletin board. So
yeah, that didn't connect.
Playing in. So I don't know if he really doesn't know or if he's going to play a role sooner or later.
Well, I wonder how like the bait shop people are going to like come together with maybe the guys that were in the bait shop, crazy bleached hair man. Maybe he goes to that church.
And that's how they scoop up the girls.
Oh.
But if she was already here, she wasn't being smuggled into the country, so that's what I don't
get. So that's
get.
like a new wrench in the whole system.
Yeah, this is a new thing. Right, I agree with you. Or she's like, bring your cousins along?
Her family was expecting her, and she never showed up, and she is missing.
That could have been.
Or
she was on the shipment coming over after.
Yeah, some family members were already
she was
here.
on the shipment.
Or John is one of those people who's like, they all look the same.
Oh, dang.
Oh, snap.
I mean,
yeah.
It can't be.
It can't be.
John can't be that guy.
So then when they were driving, though, there was one shot that stood out to me is when Marco and John are driving. I don't know if they're leaving or going to the farm. I don't remember, but it like slows down on the shipyard.
I noticed
There's like
that
boats
too.
on racks, and it just like it was awkward.
They wanted
What
us
does
to notice
mean?
that. They did. They really wanted us to notice these
I
boats.
have to go back and look.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of like what was different there, and I think that there was one boat that was covered in something, like in a blue sheet, because there was like a lot of exposed boats, and then there was one that was covered. I have to go back and see it again.
expecting Kevin and Chelsea to walk out again of one of them.
Hey guys! Hey!
Everybody knows.
When they were on a boat, I thought it was like in the water, and then they like
I know.
fly out and like, oh hey.
I like that. I like that she was like, "Is this your boat?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "You're just like doing stuff in random boats."
Random boats.
What's your boyfriend? Your
There's
brother's
perks
maybe
to owning a shipyard, Allison.
Granted, they were both really, really wasted, I'm sure. So, that being said, perhaps he thought it was his boat.
They both, well, I don't know about the boat thing, but the wasted thing, they were both dropping clues that they wanted this to happen before they got super wasted last episode.
I don't disagree with you. Yes,
Yeah,
they were.
they
The
were.
flirt was definitely
The flirt was on.
On.
I think Chelsea was just really mad at Danny for what for freaking out on her.
But and maybe let's talk about that for a second, because for Kevin to so quickly go to Chelsea as a person he wants to hook up with,
Yeah.
I feel like just is so wrong and like not the thing to do. And like
It's
we've
just so
come,
wrong.
yeah, and like we've come to expect Danny to make all these weird decisions, and Kevin's like dealing with his own issues with his wife and stuff. So like, why would he feel like he needed to involve himself in any of that? Like he's presented himself as kind of being like above and better than, and like, oh Danny, oh don't get involved with Eric, don't stay away from all this. Meanwhile, he goes and gets involved.
Well, and the family's all in a whirlwind because they lost their dad, and then they're just all messed up right now, and so like,
Right now.
well, as
More
an
so
excuse,
right now.
as an excuse, right? So that's why I would see a behavior like that might not be typically normal for him. Maybe he would go after it here because she's available. It would make his brother mad. he was mad at his brother for not making a speech.
I also think she's got very good banter. She has the art of good banter.
And she's hot.
She does. She is very, she's charming.
I was talking to a friend who has finished the season.
Oh, no.
She said that Chelsea is like one of her favorite characters.
Yeah, she's charming.
On the show. And I'm like, well, I like her. I got nothing wrong with her like now, but that made me think like what is coming
how much more involved
from
does
Chelsea?
she get?
Were you guys, I was surprised that Kevin came clean about it to Danny so easily.
I was too.
I was too. I was happy that he did, but I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You did?
I wasn't surprised by it. I don't think I was actually surprised by it because I do think that I think Kevin knew that Danny would have found out no matter what, and so he saw it better to deliver the information from his mouth first before anybody else, because it was bad. Look at how Eric was just like going around like slamming his way, like literally he was stirring the pot, like he was stirring that pot.
Yeah, he was, but God, it's like I almost feel like Kevin had something more sinister up his sleeve or something more negative, because I just feel like, number one, this wasn't on a whim. It wasn't like they just met the once, he and Chelsea, and then just like really did get wasted and hook up afterwards, like pure accident one time. No, he was like seeking her out, and it was numerous times that he was like flirting with her and asking everybody else, hey, is he, is she going with my brother? Is she, like all of these questions he was investigating. So it's like he was seeking it out. And since he was seeking it out, he did it. He got with her, and then at the end it's like, why would you need to tell your brother so soon? I feel like, especially because he put so much effort into it.
Because men are more just like tell it like just
not in this family though. Everything's a secret in this family.
Everything's a secret, and also he made it seem like, oh, it was just a one-time thing, man. Like we just got really wasted, and this thing happened once. It was a mistake. I'm so sorry. He didn't even tell the truth when he was trying to tell the truth, because the truth was, hey man, I was totally like seeking her out for days, and I eyed her like way days ago when we were all at the bar, and I was like hitting her up numerous times. So it's really not just a one-night thing. You know what I mean? I just feel like there was more to it.
I don't feel like he was seeking her out though. Okay, so here's the thing. I think he may have been flirting, for sure. I do. I think flirtation was happening. 100%. But I feel like there was a certain like pivot point for him where actually he was like, oh, I'm actually gonna like get with her, like it's gonna happen. I don't necessarily think that like when like the flirtation began and he was like, oh yeah, didn't we dance that one time at that freaking whatever that that night, I don't feel like at that point he was like, I am going to sleep with this chick down the bar. I don't think that's my
it was still
my perception.
Wrong.
Well,
because even after that he said, is she with my brother? So he obviously had it in his mind from that first night, from the flirtation. I just think there's a little more. I don't know. And we may not find out.
And remember, John and her, I feel like, have a history too. So it's like, what's the deal with this Chelsea girl? It's like she got the Rayburn brothers around her little finger.
Yeah.
She's in competition with Meg, because Meg, always got the dudes.
She's always dating up.
Meg can't date the brother, so I will.
I'll date all of them.
The ones that she
just date
The
all
only
of them.
ones Meg can't.
Exactly.
I'll get them all.
I'll date them all. Yeah. So what else from this episode? Was there anything? I feel like that was. It was
Let's
definitely not a
I think it just said, like Blake said, it was a little turning point.
Oh, it was definitely a turning point.
And Danny's little plan that he revealed what he's thinking, which
I refuse to believe it.
The next few episodes, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Oh.
So one moment that kind of stood out for me too is I feel like we talked about this last week, where Danny had the hallucination and John ran in and was like super aggressive to Danny, and we were like, whoa, that's so out of character. This week, he really did do that on somebody. John got super aggressive on that guy.
He did.
When they were trying to figure out the case.
Right.
And they found that guy who I guess was part of the previous trafficking
case. Yes.
And they were calling him out and everything. And John got so aggressive on him and just like threw him against the wall and was super aggressive, questioning him, whatever. They had their moment. Then they get back in the car and he was like, call his PO and tell him he's got weed in there.
That surprised me.
Right?
Which I watch a lot of cop shows. So, like, that, the whole, like, throwing him against the wall is just, like, him being a detective and, like, doing the detective thing. But that was a little, like, low blow, and he was, like, telling me he's smoking dope. And and that and was kind of out of character, because Marco goes, really, dude?
Really?
And he's like, yeah, like, F him.
Yes.
And I'm just like...
And that was exactly my thought, because I was like, whoa, he is, like, the level-headed one, not only of the family, but, like, of the town. He's, like, the level-headed guy, you know? He doesn't lose his cool very easy. And in this particular moment, he just straight up lost it over this guy and intentionally planted something that wasn't true. Granted, this guy was really unlikable, and any of us would have wanted to do that.
Deserves to be in prison,
but... Sure. But still, you know, in that moment, you really saw him, like, take that moment, you know, by the reins and just be like, yeah, plant this on him and F him. Let's do it.
Yeah, cool.
So that was a little crazy, I thought.
More aggression from John to
so
come.
much more aggression.
Well, there could be. Yeah, there definitely could be. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes.
All right.
And
yes.
And of course we saw Nick. Nick returned.
We did.
Jeremy.
That's right, Jeremy.
He's
What's
back in the
up,
mix.
Jeremy?
What's up, Jeremy?
That's right. This was like his episode.
He got some goodies in this one too. Some
did.
zingers. He was
He
like,
had some passion in his little speech.
He did.
But he had a point. Like, he's trying to look out for his mom and, like, find the best deal and most money for his mom. I understand that, like, people that are local to that area don't want these big condos coming in. And that's what Kevin's point is, that he's trying to keep it, like,
Protect
local
the city,
and protected. I don't want another 50-story condo building coming in here. But, like, I see Nick's side, too.
Yeah,
he's not being unreasonable.
He knows that his mom's worked probably her entire life to build this business, and he's like, let's...
He even says, like, the land is all she has.
right.
He's just looking out for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. They're definitely
Very true.
We haven't gotten into the meat of why everything is
Right.
driven with such animosity when they talk to one another.
Yeah.
So
There's more of a history.
yeah, that I think
As it is.
we
as
shall
it
see
is
next
with
week.
everything.
I'm like,
We shall.
we'll see that. What else?
Oh, because I kept bringing them to you, you know. I think that one really covered it all. I think that was kind of my main points.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
See what we
think
think
it
for
could be
next
that
week.
time. I think the predictions time has arrived.
Now,
Kate's gonna
your
start us off.
AfterBuzz
Oh,
TV.
boy.
Kick it off, Kate.
Pressure. Okay. Because we didn't see a lot of Meg, I want more of Meg and Marco and what's the guy's name?
He's not coming till the last episode.
Who, Alec?
Alec. Maybe there's like a phone call? Maybe?
I feel
I don't
like
know.
his voice would have gotten a credit then, right?
Oh,
Not unless...
those IMDb spoilers.
I feel like her representing Carlos is more than just like bringing light to the family, doesn't help out their kids and helps out other people. I think Carlos plays a role in something, and like maybe her helping her as him is not the best thing when they realize the bigger picture. So I'm interested to see that, and of course I want to see Sally snap. What?
Yeah, Sally Snap. Hashtag
Sally snap.
Yes. So with this episode, like, I felt like it was like a calm before the storm. Like, it felt weird. Like, you know something bad's gonna come, but we don't know quite what it is. So I predict that the next episode, something like giant's gonna happen, because the one right before this we had like the hallucinations, like that one was like action packed. Like this one was like just made you feel weird.
Yep,
And
it did.
I don't like it.
Don't like it.
Let's just get crazy in the next one.
Totally. And I think that the next one we may see hashtag Sally Snap. Because I'm still holding strong to the idea that Sally was involved with that car accident. And I think we're going to find out more of the words that these boys confessed on these tapes. And we kind of ended this episode with that. It was like Kevin now enters onto the tape and we see him say a brief statement, but then it cuts off right when we want to know more. And that may be where Sally comes into it. Because Mama's got to be involved somehow.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
Mama.
It still is too bizarro that she was out of town for like that. No, she wasn't. She was getting her car like buffed out or something, right? I don't know. She was getting work done.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I can be on your bandwagon for that for sure. I think that we're gonna have much more of a reveal with the Juanita Doe case. I do. And I actually feel like Carlos could have something to do with all that stuff. I don't know what, but I feel like there could just be some kind of... Everything is a puzzle and an overlap thing. So, I'm going with that.
All right.
That's
Fair
all I'm
enough.
gonna say.
I like it.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, okay, so that was episode 7. That was really episode
it.
7. Yeah. And I think we'll be much more like on board for episode 8. I'm Alison Dean. Thanks for joining us. You can find me at the Alison Dean on Twitter and Instagram, and also on Sundays for the Messengers. Blake.
And I am Blake V. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media.
Woo!
You can find me on all social media at Marielou Mandl.
And you can find me at Kate Aquillano.
Awesome sauce. We'll see you next
There we
time.
have it.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you next.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.